I'm so excited to be here with you today and to be talking about your wonderful read, Turkish Hands. So, would you care to explain to us what your ties are to Turkish culture?
Okay. My father's Turkish, and I was born in Turkey. And I left there when I was about 6 months old. And then we went back every other summer for visiting, and we have relatives there. And then partway through college, I took a year off, and I went and lived there and started learning Turkish. And what that has to do with this book is not much, but I started when my son was 4. I moved back to Turkey to live, and we lived there for about 4 years. And it was towards the end of my stay that I started to notice how Turks use their hands as a parallel language.
That's great. So, what led you to actually beautifully capture that element of communication? I mean, you kind of alluded to it, but would you care to explain more about it?
Yes, actually. So in the introduction, which I won't read to you verbatim, but it's I was on a trip with my son, and I used to own a preschool in Istanbul. So I guess it was after I sold the school, and it was kind of like a last trip in Turkey. And the tour guide was telling him all about the rock formations and the people that used to live there. And I couldn't hear anything he was saying, but I knew exactly what he was talking about. I knew the history he was describing. I knew when he was talking about the weather. And it's all because I could follow his hand gestures.
That's great.
So I started documenting all the gestures that I noticed. And once it clicked, like, this is its own independent language, then I already knew a whole bunch because I tend to watch people pretty carefully.
So that's great. You're talking about how these are a separate language on their own. What significance do these gestures hold on a global level, on a universal level, I should say?
Well, that's an interesting question. Let me try not to be stumped. I think on a universal level, first of all, on a regional level, the Italians, I think the Spaniards, they use their hands a lot. And actually, there's an Italian hand gestures expert who talks about all the hand gestures that she has documented. And some of them are the same physically, but they don't have the same meaning. Like this, in Turkish, what does this mean, is good?
You tell me, Tara.
No, you tell me. They won't know that it's real until the Turkish person.
Is it the çok one?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots.
Well,
tıklım.
No, like çok güzel.
Oh, çok güzel. Oh,
Ay,
çok
kız
güzel.
çok güzel.
Ay, hanımefendi. Güzelliğiniz.
That's right. Oh boy, you're good at that. And if you just ate something.
Oh, lezzetli, nefis.
Lezzetli, that's right. It means tasty or beautiful. But in Italy, it's kind of rude. I don't actually know exactly what it means. And in the Middle East, Lebanon, like some of the other Mediterranean countries, it means patience, like sabır, sabır. Hold on a second. So regionally, I think these hand gestures started from something, maybe Greek Empire, and then they've stayed around, but they've changed meanings. On a universal level, I think whenever you learn about a culture, you invariably learn about yourself because you're learning about what differentiates you and who you are, and actually all the things that you thought maybe were part of you that are really just part of your culture, and they don't define you. But you start to notice that some of the ways you think are actually not really ways you think. They're ways your culture, your society have taught you to think. And then once you see that, no, not everybody thinks like that, you start to discover a lot more about yourself.
So you're completely tying the micro to the macro, which is profound. And I want to ask you, Tara, tell me which hand gestures stick out to you the most.
All right. So if I was gonna tell people about Turkey, this here.
Oh, would you care for some colonia then?
Yeah, but okay, fine. Do it to me. I probably spent more time in Turkey.
Okay.
So lemon cologne.
Sporting one though.
I know. So in Turkey, a shopkeeper or if you're on an overnight bus or in a restaurant, when you're leaving the restaurant, they would offer you this, and then you would rub your hands together, get them all clean, because it's actually mostly alcohol, rubbing alcohol. And then my grandmother would go, yeah. And then she would rub it on her neck a lot. So that is a picture of my parents. I posed them in my living room. Not this living room, a different living room, with some Turkish stuff I had. So I tried to make it like the Kaplı Çarşı.
You handled it well.
Thank you very much. And Kaplı Çarşı means the covered bazaar, big marketplace in Istanbul. And that's my Turkish dad and my American mom. And he is offering her lemon cologne, and she cups her hands to receive it. And so that would not make it in a book of Turkish hand gestures normally, but that's just my unique perspective, noticing that is such an inherent part of the culture.
It is inherent. That's why you're a pioneer in one way or another, because these hand gestures are an inextricable part of our culture, but yet we don't stop to think of the significance they hold. Do you want to elaborate on that? Because you're looking at it in a scholarly way.
That's true. Actually, it's funny because a lot of Turks, pretty much every Turk that I showed this to when I was starting the project, they said, "What do you mean? We don't have a lot of hand gestures." And then I would say, "Well, what about go straight ahead?" Or, even drinking the tea. Why don't you show us again how you drink from your Turkish tea glass?
Well, you tell me if I'm doing it correctly.
That's right. So you take it from the rim and you turn it towards yourself.
And I tip.
Yes, because it's hot. The whole thing's very hot. They have to drink their tea very hot. What I was saying is that when I was showing this to Turks, they didn't believe that they had a lot of hand gestures until I started showing them. And then they would say, "Oh my God, do you have this one? Peki bu var mı?" And then that's how I learned a bunch of more gestures than the ones I had noticed, because the Turks started really getting into it. But at first they had no idea that they were using this whole parallel language for communication that was with their hands. As far as scholarly, I think I have only really hit the tip of the iceberg, as they say, because I know that this is profound, and I've been invited to a few universities, like the Turkish departments or the cross-cultural communication departments, to present the book to their students. And so some scholars out there have decided this is pretty profound too. But because I'm not a trained academic, I'm probably a little bit of an academic at heart. I'd have to do more research. But the truth is, I read some of the research on cross-cultural communication, like some of the pioneers in that field, and it was really boring. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't want this to be boring, because this is fun. Sometimes when you have scholarship, you have to come up with a story, right? Like you have to make something significant. So even if it's not that significant, it gets made to sound significant, and that makes it really boring. But this sounds like not very much until you really get into the meat of it, and you realize, wow, there is a whole parallel language going on.
How did Turks and non-Turks react to you enacting these hand gestures?
Oh, they think it's hilarious.
Both cultures.
Both cultures, yeah. So as far as this book, most of the people in this book are people that I met. There are very few, or their family members that I posed. And of the kids in my family, I'm the only one who's lived in Turkey and speaks Turkish. We're 4 children, and I was the one who showed the most interest. And then there's a few people I staged, like a waiter in a restaurant, or there was a çaycı, a tea man in Istanbul that I posed. But most of them are...
Show us that chai pose you do so well.
All right. So if you're in a restaurant, or you might call someone over, like an inferior, or you don't have to say anything, just this is the hand gesture. They come, and then you might go like this, which means clear these up, take them away, and then you might ask for some more tea with this stirring motion.
That's cute.
That is cute. You don't even have to talk. You can be a mute.
Tara, show us some more gestures that stick out to you.
All right. So I marked a few. We did the lemon cologne, big one, and I'll show one it's not just Turkish. It's actually a Muslim. In the Islamic world, it's a gesture that's used across the Muslim world, and it would be understood in any of the countries that practice that. So ask me if I want more tea.
Çay ister misiniz hanımefendi? Would you like more tea?
So I'm watching out for my microphone. This is one thing. And what does that mean?
Oh, that's the no thank you one, but I'm grateful.
Yeah, so if I tap it twice, like that means I'm grateful, but no thank you.
Okay.
It's very hard to say no in Turkey. You're aware of that.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
I have my father in here. He's being offered tea by me, and he has to have his hand up.
Oh, this time I really
really means. Oh gosh, you memorized this.
Of course I did.
Everybody needs to be just like her. Memorize this book.
She compiled an amazing book. Well, tell me more about when volumes 2 and 3 are coming out.
Oh, volumes 2 and 3 are coming out as soon as I find somebody to publish them, because this was a very solo effort. I mean, I had a lot of fun making it, and there's like a guy I went to graduate school with who's posing on the first page.
Very classic Turkish pose.
He's
hilarious.
He's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and you can't really see it, but he's got a little bit of a pot belly. And I'm in his car, but I'm asking him directions as a blonde tourist, and he's telling me to go straight ahead. Go ahead. Dost doğru git, hiçbir yere sapmadan. So I had a lot of fun making it, and for volumes 2 and 3, I've already collected a lot of other gestures. Probably, if there's 50 in here, I have 100 more. But I wanted someone else to kind of take the project over. I'll give them all the material, but I want professional photographs, or maybe an online version, interactive, where they could be short clips or videos.
That would be so much fun.
That would be fun. And I wouldn't mind, actually receiving something in return for having spent all this time and effort and my own money on the book. Like I said, a few departments have bought the book, Turkish departments, and I've been invited to a few places, but I'd like it to get bigger. And I don't know what that takes. What would it take for it to become like a bigger phenomenon? And another idea I had, because I can't stop looking at other people's hands when they talk now,
Yes.
no matter where they're from. This is actually a worldwide cultural compilation of hand gestures. Yeah, and like every culture, someone from every culture could collect them, and then we would put them all on a website, and it could be almost like a peace project, cross-cultural communication, peace. I think
that's going to catch on. That's definitely going to catch on. So, okay, one last question for you, Tara. How can the Turkish community get involved in promoting this amazing compilation?
Well, I guess if they can check out the website, which I haven't done. I mean, the book's on it, and you can download an e-version of the book, and you can order the book from, like, I get an email and I mail it to you. But I think the Turkish community should visit www.turkishhands.com. That's the name of the book.
Okay.
And then come, get in touch with me and share their ideas with me about how to make this, or if anyone wants to be involved in making books 2 and 3. I called them. The last couple of pages are about the upcoming books, and
Great.
I called. One is what they're really feeling about the emotions.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. Yes, Turks show a lot of there's not a big vocabulary for emotions in Turkish, but the body language is very rich. Yes. And then there's the one, measures and sundry, which is, like if you're measuring, if you go to the Bosphorus, and you find a fish seller, you say, okay, I want a fish about this big. Or you're buying cheese at the bakkal, and you say, şu kadarcık.
Yeah.
Or yarım kalıp, yarım kalıp. Like
Right.
that's I guess, I don't know, like a half. I don't know what that is. You tell me right this second. Is it when they have the cheese in a big lump, and you're saying, I want a half of that lump? or maybe it's a half a kilo. Anyway, so there's lots of measurements that are hand gestures in Turkish, and then there were some things that didn't really fit in a clear category. So I said measures and sundry. So Turkish community.
Here, right? Can we do something as your hand gesture to signify something very, very important, like you have to listen to this or you have to hear this?
Yeah, we could say bir dakikanızı verin. If you give me a minute of your time.
Minute of your time.
And it's not this, it's this. And well, I guess I would be grateful for any help, anyone who wants to take up this this project.
And Tara, I'm grateful for your time, for being able to inform me.
Thank you.
And the viewer of your amazing project here. And I'm sure everyone else is going to be just as excited as I was.
Or at least they're going to laugh a lot.
Oh, they will at least. Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
so
it's funny.
Let's go ahead and conclude with a.
Let's finish by drinking our Turkish tea.
Okay.
Şerefe. Not that you would ever click your teacups, but see, mine isn't. Hold on.
Oh.
Say, you know how it's supposed to be the color of rabbit blood?
Right. Oh, tavşan kanı.